Hi, this is Jesus. Okay, so let's look at the crucifixion again. The crucifixion of me representing the crucifixion of human beings is the true expression of themselves, as one is in equality, freedom within self-expression. And what does the belief in God or even the Bible represent? What exists within human beings still that read the Bible, that worship and pray to a God, or the belief in the Jesus of me that is coming on a cloud to save humanity? They're actually supporting the crucifixion. They're actually supporting the crucifixion of themselves as a true self-expression that they are. They're actually remorse in guilt, denial, fear, judgment within themselves, because what has been passed on from generation to generation to generation is the actual guilt within those beings, whether they were aware of it or not, of firstly allowing the crucifixion of themselves as a true self-expression that they are. And human beings have been living with that guilt, that remorse, that judgment, and that fear within themselves for eons of time. That's where the concept of God comes in. Because human beings at that moment experience such extensive guilt, remorse, fear, judgment, that a concept of a God was formed because they could not find a way to forgive themselves for what they've allowed. Now, this I'm talking about let's call it the higher awareness of yourself, even beings back then. It exists within all of humanity. Human beings are so aware of themselves, and have always been. It is extensive. And you'll realize it the more you become aware of yourself, or even allow yourself. And they realized even at the time, so what sins of the fathers have been passed on from generation to generation to generation? Sins of the fathers of the guilt of that moment, the remorse, the fear, the judgment of self, for allowing that to manifest. And that's why human beings hide behind the concept of God, because of fear of what was done way back then. So rather hide behind a worshipping entity separate from self, than actually having to face that guilt, that shame, that anger, that remorse, and that sorrow for what was allowed way back then, for the crucifixion of oneself, self-expression. And human beings are aware of that. I mean, how many human beings still pray, yet continuously feel that emptiness, that hollowness, that unfulfillment, going to church more fervently, praying more fervently, doing everything more extensively, to try and fulfill that emptiness, that hollowness, that nothingness within them. It doesn't seem to be able to be fulfilled by anything, not even going to church, or praying, or reading a holy book, or worshipping an entity separate from self. I mean, what is required to step forth in this world is self-honesty. And that's the one point human beings fear within themselves. Self-honesty, that one singular point. And what did I realize also when I was crucified on the cross, in terms of, I had to realize that I'm not able to judge any of these beings. That they did not understand what they were doing, and did not realize what they were actually doing in that moment. And that I was merely a representation of who human beings really are. And so there would have been many in this world that still came, let's say, disguised as myself, not really me, but human beings standing up for who the rest of the world really is. But what happened? They got crucified, just in different ways, which is murdered, assassinated, removed from the world by the white light. They were always here. That's where it is fascinating that the book of the Bible is so misinterpreted, of Jesus coming on a cloud. But an interesting thing is, what if I've always been here? What if I've always come? But every time humanity has crucified that expression of me just in different ways. What would that mean? That would mean beings that have come to earth, that have been here, that have actually stood up, that have actually represented truth, that have actually represented the statement of who humanity really is. But they were every time crucified, literally. Go back in history, have a look. There were beings that actually had the ability to make a difference. They stood up, they spoke, they were murdered or assassinated. Immediately. Who does that? Not just the beings who were involved, no. All of humanity collectively. My crucifixion, same situation. We made that choice. All of the beings, basically the world in that moment, all stood together. Through fear. Not realizing, everyone waiting for Jesus to come in a cloud. Please. Completely misinterpreted. There were beings who've come as me. That was what it actually meant. Crucified every time. And to go back, I trained 12 beings on earth because I realized I'm not able to do this only because otherwise the human beings that are hearing me or seeing my self-expression won't allow them to apply and live and express themselves and spread it through all human beings on earth. And so I said to the 12 disciples that in the beginning I told them, you will become one and equal with me, because you will go to all the far corners of the world and spread the living word to all. The living word. Simple. But yet, the moment I left, fear interjected, worry interjected, judgment, doubt, etc. And they left it. They didn't do what it was asked of them to do. They didn't support their own self-expression, their own understanding, their own realization. And I told them that I would return. I would return to come and check up on their application, their expression, the manifestation of themselves, of the world. I didn't say how, when, where, or nothing. I just said, I will return. And from there, everything went haywire. As you can see now, human beings believe in a God that doesn't exist, in a Jesus that will come in a cloud, and here I am, and I'm saying I won't. So, you're either able to continue waiting until you die and realize there's not a God, and oh, Jesus is just one and equal with me, just another being. And the entire concept of God was just created for further enslavement of separation. Now, what is interesting, I'm certain there are many beings who will, oh no, please, that's a lie, I don't believe you. Really, look honestly within yourself. Why do you have this belief? Is it because it's supporting you and your self-expression? Or have you done it because you were born into a family with such a belief, and you were trained to believe such a belief? Interesting. Where are you in that equation? What if you were not born in such a family? Where would you be then? Thank you very much. This is Jesus.